And I am here to do my official Premier League predictions for match day 31 of all the teams to predict here for this weekend coming up, by the way, as we know that we are in the business end of the season to find out where teams are going to be, because we've got one more month away left until the end of the Premier League season, and there's a lot of games from now until the end of the campaign to find out who will be the better team to leave the season as champions, Liverpool, relegation, Leicester, Southampton, Ipswich, by the way, and even who will get into European football, Chelsea, City. And you never know, because anything can happen on my predictions here on this video. So let's find out right now on who I predict out of the 10 games for this weekend. Let's get to them right now. My official predictions between my team Arsenal, who travel away from home against Liverpool's rivals of Everton on the weekend at 12:30 kickoff, as a massive positive victory for Arsenal after beating Fulham by 2-1 on Tuesday night. But we do play here against Everton on Saturday. If I had to put a prediction in terms of this game on Saturday, I feel that Everton really will make it hard for ourselves in that game, because Everton, 9 games unbeaten before they lost to Liverpool yesterday, under the new manager David Moyes, returned back as a manager of Everton since leaving in 2013, 12 years ago. And he has picked up, unbeaten run now of 9 games. But they did actually lose to Liverpool yesterday by 1-0. But if I had to put a prediction in this matchup, in our last game for Arsenal to travel to Goodison Park for the last time ever, I think that Everton will get the win over the line, I think. So we did draw 0-0 in our last meeting against them at the Emirates Stadium way back in December, but I don't feel confident about this game because Everton's defence has been so good in terms of their solidness, and we're a bit awkward in terms of teams like Everton's or those sort of teams who will end up, getting a point or lose a game or so and so. So I don't think we'll get anything out of the game on Saturday. I think that Everton, the Toffees, will get the result. Everton 1, Arsenal 0 as my prediction on this game by the end of this weekend. A massive battle down below between Wolves and Ipswich. Ipswich did very, very well on Wednesday. They beat Bournemouth by 2-1. As of the Wolves, they beaten West Ham United by 2-1 on Tuesday. And the gap is so big now, comparison to where Wolves are outside of the relegation drop, in 29 points, in 17th place in the league, while Ipswich now are currently 18th, a place below from Wolves with 20 points in the league. And they both play each other at Portland Road on this weekend at 3 o'clock. Ipswich, great result on Wednesday against Bournemouth, but I don't think Ipswich will get another win here at Portland Road. I don't think they're going to get anything out of this game. A great away victory to Bournemouth, of course, yesterday, however. But Wolves, however, look safe, look confident. Even the Wolves substitutes and the manager as well celebrating so dramatically at the end of that game on Tuesday. But if I have to put a prediction on this match day between Ipswich Town and Wolves, I'm going to go for Ipswich Town 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 2. Wolves win the game by 2-0 in that matchup, and Wolves will be a real proper cloud 9 there will be in terms of them being more, let's say, 100% safe for next season to play in the Premier League for another campaign. My Premier League predictions between Crystal Palace and Brighton Hove Albion at 3 p.m. on Saturday. A massive game this is. A really strange rivalry that Palace and Brighton have together through the years. But they do play each other this weekend though at Selhurst Park. Palace, the home team, an incredible victory away from home last weekend to beat Fulham by 3-0 to progress them now at Wembley in the semi-finals of the FA Cup to take on Aston Villa in a couple of weeks' time. As for Brighton, a disappointing game from last week. They lost on penalties against Nottingham Forest, and they could not put themselves to play at Wembley Stadium in the next round of the competition. But it's a league game now. Two teams are mediocre in the Premier League. Round the top half of the table, these two sides are currently at. But if I put a prediction in this game down in South London on Saturday, I'm going to go for Crystal Palace 1, Brighton Hove Albion 1. Both teams will share a point, and I don't think there's going to be any, let's say, win out of these two sides, because every time that Palace play Brighton, they always somehow get a point out of each other, and I reckon it'll happen this weekend. Palace 1, Brighton 1 at full time on Saturday as my prediction. My Premier League predictions: in East London at the London Stadium between West Ham United versus Bournemouth. And West Ham, massive loss on Tuesday to Wolves, as they are currently sitting in 16th place in the league under Graham Potter. But as of the opposition, though, for the team they're up against, Bournemouth, they are currently have a chance on trying to get into those European places in that top 7 or top 6. But however, we know that Bournemouth crumbled on Wednesday and lost 2-1 to Ipswich. If they won that game against Ipswich yesterday, then that will mean that, number one, Bournemouth will secure Premier League safety for another season, and number two, they'll be in that picture on trying to get themselves in a European place by the end of the season. But if I put a prediction in this matchup against West Ham and also Bournemouth on Saturday, I feel that West Ham might narrowly win that game. I feel so. So I think that with Gerald Bowen fit as well will be a bit of difference in terms of their form at home. I'd say that probably West Ham will win the game. So I'm going to go for West Ham United 1, Bournemouth 0 at London Stadium for Saturday. And the two sides from the Midlands, Nottingham Forest versus Aston Villa at Villa Park at Villa Stadium on Saturday. A massive busy month for Aston Villa. They've got the Champions League against PSG for next week. They've got the semi-finals of the FA Cup against Crystal Palace. And they've got a massive month ahead of them for Aston Villa. They do play here against another big side of Nottingham Forest, also in the exact same boat as Aston Villa. The only difference between Villa and Forest is that Forest are not playing UEFA Champions League football at the moment, though. They could do next season, though, as they're currently third as we speak. But in my prediction on Saturday between Unai Emery's Aston Villa and Nuno Espirito Santo's Nottingham Forest, I'm going to go for a Villa win. I'm going for Villa 2, Nottingham Forest 1, only because Villa at home are very good. Forest, their record at Villa Park hasn't been great through the years, so I'm going to go for a Villa victory by a 2-1 win for the Villains by the end of the weekend. Big game this is for Southampton in terms of their chance of safety for next season, because time is running out for the team. As we all know on paper now, Southampton will be relegated to play in the Championship for next season. Not confirmed yet, though, to be relegated, though. But if they lose this game on Saturday, I think that'll be it for Southampton going back to the Championship for next season. They play Spurs, they play against away from home. Might be a lot harder for Southampton to pick anything out of that game. But Spurs, however, for them, they've got to play Chelsea tonight in their game away from home. Spurs obviously had a very poor season so far in this campaign, in the bottom half of the table. They've got Europa League to contend with still. If they've got any chance on maybe winning the Europa League to try and progress themselves to qualify in the UEFA Champions League, probably ain't going to happen, likely so, because Spurs are Spurs and Spurs bottle things. But in this match day for this weekend, I think Spurs will be very comfortable winners in that matchup at their home ground. So I'm going to go for a 3 o'clock kickoff result between Spurs and Southampton as Spurs 4, Southampton 0. Southampton will be battered, and I think Southampton will be mathematically relegated, I think, by the end of this weekend. So I'm going to go 4-0 to Spurs on Saturday. My official predictions between Brentford and also Chelsea on Sunday's kickoff. A big game this is going to be between Brentford and Chelsea. A West London derby. Very local between each other in West London. But Chelsea do travel to the GTEC Stadium to take on Thomas Frank's Brentford. Brentford currently in a position that they are in 11th position. Massive win against Bournemouth a few weeks back. Was a massive win for them. And also they're trying to get themselves bouncing towards those European places. Only at least now they're 6-7 points away from those European spots of the UEFA Champions League for Brentford. But they do play Chelsea though, also content with a chance to qualify for the UEFA Champions League for next season. But they do play away from home though, Chelsea. And Brentford are really pretty good at home in terms of their form so far this season. So if I were to put a prediction on this game on the Sunday, I feel that it'll be a draw in the matchup at the GTEC Stadium. It will be Brentford 2, Chelsea 2 as a draw between the two sides to wrap things up for Matchday 31 between those two West London sides. My official prediction between Fulham FC and Liverpool on Sunday. A massive game this is going to be here for these two sides, especially for Fulham though, because Fulham are got a chance of being in those European places to try and qualify for by the end of this campaign. But however, Fulham do play against Liverpool. Liverpool cannot stop winning matches. Every game, win after win after win after win. Forget about the League Cup final they lost to against Newcastle and lost into the game against PSG in the round of 16 of the UEFA Champions League from last month. This month, I feel that Liverpool will definitely want to get that trophy. Want to be winning that Premier League title by the end of the season. I did predict that Everton will win 1-0 against Arsenal on my predictions here on Matchday 31. But on Matchday 31 between Fulham and Liverpool, I'm going to go for a win for Liverpool. I'm going Fulham 1, Liverpool 2 on Sunday. And I feel that Mo Salah will be on the score sheet as well in that game. It'll be a tight game still because Fulham are at home. Fulham want to try and get anything in their power to get anything in that game because Fulham have got a chance on trying to be in those potential chances for them to qualify for the Europa Conference League or Europa League for next season. So I feel that Fulham might be the ones will be the second best by the end of the game at Craven Cottage on Sunday. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory for Liverpool to wrap up Sunday between these two sides on Matchday 31. My official predictions in the Manchester derby between Manchester United and also Manchester City. And these two Manchester sides had a very terrible season. United had a worst comparison to Man City's as they're currently worse off compared to Man City in the league table as they're sitting in the bottom half of the Premier League campaign. But when United actually played Man City at the Etihad Stadium early on this season, they got a result over Man City by 2-1 at the Etihad Stadium by a last-minute goal from Ahmed Delalo, who got the winner for Man United. But this season has been a car crash for United. The worst season of United for the last 30 years will come this season. Never anticipate United to be in that bottom half of the table, but they are exactly where they are now in the bottom half for exact reasons. Losing games, not being consistent, being poor, and United fans have enough as well of the ownership of Man United as well, including Sir Jim Ratcliffe with the Glazers as well. But they do play here against Man City, have been more consistent in comparison to United this season. Although Man City have been also poor this season because, we all used to Man City to win the league every single year under Pep Guardiola. 4 consecutive Premier League titles under their names since Liverpool last won the league in 2020. And since then, Man City have been consistent. Premier League after Premier League after Premier League trophy each season since then. But this season, they fell off their horses and they're fighting for that UEFA Champions League spot. Personally, I think Man City will be in the top 4 this season, or the top 5, depending on in terms of the 5th extra spot might be added into the English teams this season. But at the exact same time, Man City have been very, very poor. And this is not the team that I've actually ever seen Man City be worse off like they have done in comparison to all the other seasons, because they've been dominating the English football game. But this season, they've been the opposite. But in this game on Sunday, a 4:30 kickoff at Old Trafford, United will really want to give it against City. Absolutely, after losing to Forest on Tuesday night. So it'll be a very tough one for United not to win the game against Man City. But however, for Man City, they've also lost Erling Haaland out for injury now, since being injured against Bournemouth in the FA Cup quarter-finals. So he'll be out now until the end of the season. The major talisman will not be playing in the City team. Will be a massive disappointment right there for the whole City squad, and also for Pep Guardiola as well. But my prediction between United and City on Sunday, I'm going to go for a goalless draw, 0-0. No goals whatsoever between Man City and Man United. They've both been poor this season. City have been more consistent in comparison to United, but in terms of these sort of games, or typical sort of those games, I think there'll be no goals at all between Man City and Man United on Sunday. Goalless as my prediction for Matchday 31. My last predictions for Matchday 31 of the Premier League on Monday Night Football at 8 o'clock on Sky Sports. Leicester City are the home team, and they take on against a team who are newly League Cup champions, Newcastle. A big result for Newcastle against Brentford yesterday, by a 2-1 victory against Brentford was a massive win for Eddie Howe's men. And they want to be as very consistent as possible now. They want to be until the end of the season. They want to try and challenge, of course, in terms of a top 4 spot. But the only issue that Newcastle have got is injuries they've got. But they cope very well against Liverpool in that cup final. They cope well against Brentford from yesterday's result. And they do play Leicester City, who are currently cannot pick up a win under their name at all whatsoever. And every game under Ruvan Nistelrooy, they've been losing after losing games. And Leicester City, sad times for Leicester. I feel sorry for Leicester so much of what they're going through this season so far. And also 2 years ago as well, when Brendan Rodgers, who got Leicester relegated that season, was a massive disappointment under their belt. But I think again, they'll join again Southampton back down into the Championship for next season. But if I had to put a prediction on Monday Night Football between Leicester and Newcastle, I'm going to go for Leicester City 0, Newcastle United 3. Newcastle have got the hype, the confidence they've got to go and get a victory over Leicester at the King Power Stadium. So I'm going to go for Leicester City 0, Newcastle United 3 as my official result of my predictions for Matchday 31. And that's all the coverage here for my predictions earlier go for Matchday 31 of the Premier League. If you like my predictions, please leave a like. If you want more predictions of the Premier League, please subscribe. And that's all for the predictions here, and have a very good day.